In the dead of night, a man collapsed on the roadside, bleeding, unconscious and cold. She had two choices: walk away or give up her dignity to save a stranger's life. Aria chose humanity. But the next day, the same stranger walked into her workplace, clean-shaven, powerful, and filthy rich. "Why did you save me?" he asked, staring into her soul. "Because if you hadn't, I would have never known what true love felt like." This is how fate introduces soulmates. Scene opens with dim lighting, a cold night, rain falling softly. Aria is walking home after a late shift at the diner. Aria was exhausted. Her feet ached, her coat soaked through, and her heart, tired from the weight of a life lived in quiet sacrifice. She hears a faint groan, looks around, spots a figure collapsed near a dumpster. Aria gasping, "Oh my God! Sir, can you hear me?" She rushes to him. The man's lips are blue, his pulse faint, his shirt soaked with blood and rain. The stranger was dying. No ID, no phone, just a heartbeat that could vanish any second. She looks around, rips open his shirt, covers his body with her coat, pressing her hands against his chest. Aria, choking through tears, "Please don't die. I don't even know your name." She waves down a car. It screeches to a halt. Cut to the ambulance racing away. Rain fades into morning sunlight. Slow pan into the diner where Aria works. By morning, the storm had passed. But Aria couldn't shake the image of the stranger's face. She pours coffee for a grumpy customer when the diner bell rings. She turns, freezes. Ezra enters, now clean-cut, wearing a suit worth more than her yearly salary. Their eyes lock. Ezra softly, "I believe you saved my life last night." Aria shocked. "How do you know my name?" He steps closer. Customers turn. Tension builds. Ezra gently, "You took a chance on a dying man. Now I'm here to ask you something no one expects." Ezra calmly, "Will you marry me?" Aria gasp. Cut to black. What do you do when the stranger you saved becomes your destiny? Aria stands frozen in the middle of the diner. Ezra's words echo in her mind. Ezra, repeating softly, "Will you marry me?" It wasn't just the words that shocked her. It was how he said them, with calm certainty, as if they were fated all along. Cut to Aria dragging him outside behind the diner, away from curious eyes. Aria, whispering sharply, "Are you out of your mind? We don't even know each other." Ezra, serious, intense, "I know you saved me when no one else would. That tells me more than any date ever could." Aria, "That doesn't mean you marry someone." Ezra, "No. But it means I owe you everything. And I don't want to let the woman who saved me walk out of my life." Ezra unconscious in the hospital. The sound of Aria's voice echoes as she pleads for help. Her coat covers him. Her trembling hands on his chest. It replays in his mind. He remembered the warmth of her hands, the voice that refused to give up on him. Even unconscious, her care reached through the darkness. Back in the present, Ezra hands her a card. Ezra, "My driver will pick you up tomorrow. No pressure. Just come to my estate. Let me show you the life you saved." Aria, hesitant, "You're serious about this?" Ezra nodding, "Dead serious." Next day, Aria stands at a mansion gate. Nervous, confused, curious. A luxury car glides through iron gates. Aria steps out, awestruck by the estate. Aria had grown up in shelters, waited tables her whole life. She never imagined standing in front of marble pillars and velvet halls. Inside the mansion, Ezra greets her, not in a suit, but in simple clothes, barefoot, smiling. Ezra, "Welcome, Aria. No press, no photographers. Just you and me, and the truth." He guides her through a private library, a garden, and finally, a room full of paintings. Each one a moment from the night he almost died. Painted from memory. Aria whispers, "You painted me." Ezra, "You're the reason I'm alive." Ezra reaches into his jacket and pulls out a velvet box, Not a ring, but a gold chain with a charm shaped like a heartbeat. Ezra, I don't want to scare you, but if you say yes, I'll never let a single tear fall from your eyes again. Aria looks at him, torn between fear and the warmth rising in her chest. He was a stranger, now standing like a dream she never dared to have. But was it too good to be true? Scene opens with Aria holding the heartbeat-shaped charm in her palm. Her fingers tremble. Aria softly, why are you doing all this for me? Ezra, gentle but firm. Because I never believed in fate. Until I opened my eyes in that hospital. And you were the first face in my memory. She should have walked away. Said no. But her heart didn't move. It stayed right where he stood. Aria nods slightly, and Ezra leads her deeper into the mansion. Aria enters a breathtaking room filled with candles and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a private lake. Ezra, this is where I come to breathe. To remember who I really am. Not the name the tabloids know. Aria quietly, I don't know anything about your world. Ezra, then let me show you, not with diamonds or parties. With truth. He opens a locked drawer and pulls out an old photo. It's a younger Ezra. Bruised, homeless, with hollow eyes. Ezra. I grew up on the streets. Abandoned. Left to freeze. That night you found me. I was running from more than a mugger. I was running from my past. And in that moment, Aria saw the boy behind the billionaire. The broken heart behind the charming smile. Aria gently. You don't owe me anything, Ezra. Ezra, staring into her eyes. Maybe not. But I want to give you everything. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes from another wing of the mansion. Aria jumps. Ezra tensing. Stay here. He rushes out. Aria follows despite his warning. They reach a dark hallway, door wide open. A figure dashes away. A shadow watching them. Waiting. Someone didn't want this story to unfold. Ezra picks up a torn piece of paper from the floor. On it, Aria's name, scribbled in angry red ink. Ezra, gritting his teeth. Someone's trying to scare you. But they'll have to go through me first. Aria stares at the paper, heart pounding. What if the night she saved him was just the beginning of something far more dangerous? Scene opens with Aria gripping the torn note. Her name, Aria, written in angry red ink, smudged and trembling in her hands. Aria whispers. Who would do this and why? Ezra, voice low, protective. I don't know. But I'll find out. You're not safe until I do. The mansion, once filled with warmth and candlelight, now echoed with silence and tension. Someone had invaded Ezra's sanctuary and left a message. Ezra leads Aria into a hidden hallway with fingerprint access. Behind the door, a sleek room with security monitors and files. Ezra. This is where I watch over the empire I built. And now, where I'll protect you. Aria shocked. You live like this. Constant surveillance, locked rooms. Ezra, bitter laugh. You don't become a millionaire without enemies. Especially when your fortune was once theirs. He shows her a photo of his former business partner, Declan Ward, a man with cold eyes. Ezra. Declan. We built the company together. Then he tried to sell me out. I exposed him. Now he wants revenge. Suddenly, Aria's presence in Ezra's life wasn't just unexpected. It was dangerous. Aria. You think he's the one who left that note? Ezra, quiet rage. If he is, he'll wish he never touched you. Later that evening, Ezra insists Aria stay in the mansion's guest room for her safety. The room is elegant, but Aria stares out the window, restless. She sees Ezra pacing the garden alone, shirt sleeves rolled up, tension in every step. She joins him outside, barefoot in the quiet night. Aria. You don't have to protect me alone. I'm stronger than I look. Ezra, turning to her, eyes tired. It's not just about strength. It's about what I'm willing to lose. And you. You've become something I can't afford to lose. Aria reaches for his hand. They sit in silence under the stars. Slowly, their fingers intertwine. In that fragile moment, beneath layers of secrets and fear, love began to bloom. Suddenly, Aria's phone buzzes. Private number. She answers. Mysterious voice, distorted. If you care about Ezra, walk away. Before we finish what we started that night. Her face turns pale. Ezra turns toward her, alarmed. Ezra. What is it? She doesn't answer. Just stares into the night, fear returning to her eyes. Was Ezra the only one with enemies? Or was Aria's past catching up to her too? Scene opens with Aria standing frozen in the garden, Ezra watching her closely. Ezra. Who was it? What did they say? Aria slowly lowers her phone, her face pale but determined. Aria. It was a warning. About you. About me staying away from you. Or something worse will happen. It wasn't just Ezra's past that was dangerous anymore. Aria's own ghosts were beginning to whisper through the cracks. Ezra takes her inside, locks down the mansion's security. Ezra. Who would call you like that? Have you told anyone about me? Aria quietly. I haven't told anyone. But there was someone. Long time ago. Someone I left behind. Aria younger, working late nights at a bar. A man follows her after her shift. Controlling, jealous, and dangerous. She escapes him after months of fear. His name was Marcus. A man who said he loved her, but only knew how to control her. She left him broken, furious. Back in the present, Ezra watches her eyes cloud with pain. Ezra softly. You don't have to carry that alone anymore. Aria, tears in her eyes. I'm not afraid of Declan. But if Marcus is back. Ezra, gritting his teeth. Then he just picked the wrong man to cross. The next morning, Ezra takes Aria to his private security HQ. He introduces her to Luna, his top security analyst, a sharp woman with a calm voice. Luna. Marcus Knight. 2 arrests for assault, disappeared 2 years ago. But someone matching his description was seen near your diner 3 nights ago. The pieces were falling together. 2 different threats, one from Ezra's world, and one from hers. Ezra. I have the power to protect you, Aria. But I need something in return. Aria nervously. What? Ezra. Trust me. All the way. She hesitates but nods. Ezra takes her hand and places a ring, not an engagement ring but a security tracker, on her finger. Ezra. Until we're safe. I need to know you're never too far. Cut to a dark car parked outside the mansion gates. Inside, a man watches the estate through binoculars. He snarls under his breath. Marcus growling. She thought she could run. But she doesn't know I never let go. He pulls out a photo. Aria smiling in the diner. Next to it, a bullet. 2 men. One who loved her. One who wanted to possess her. And soon they would collide. She stripped a stranger to save him. Next day he showed up as a millionaire and asked her to marry. Scene opens with Aria waking in the mansion guest room. Sunlight spills through sheer curtains, but her heart is heavy. She turns her head. Ezra is sitting in the armchair across from her, watching her softly. Ezra smiling faintly. You kept whispering my name in your sleep. Aria blushing, sitting up. Was I? That's embarrassing. Ezra. No. It was the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. In this moment they could pretend the world outside didn't exist. But danger was drawing nearer. Like a wave building in the shadows. Meanwhile, in a dim hideout across the city, Marcus scrolls through photos of Ezra. Marcus to himself. So this is the billionaire she chose. Let's see how well love holds up when it's covered in blood. He slams his fist into the table. Behind him, a stack of old letters from Aria. Torn, burned, but not forgotten. Ezra brings Aria to a rooftop garden he built himself. Ivy-covered walls, twinkling lights, a peaceful oasis above the city. Ezra. I built this when I had nothing. Just a rooftop, a few broken pots, and a dream of someday bringing someone here. Someone who mattered. Aria softly. You brought me. Ezra. You were the dream I didn't know I had. He gently touches her cheek. They lean closer, almost kiss, but a phone call interrupts. Luna over speaker. Ezra. We have a situation. Ezra tense. What is it? Luna. Declan and Marcus. They met. In person. An hour ago. Ezra and Aria, in unison. What? Enemies don't always come one at a time. Sometimes fate joins them in a single storm. Back at HQ, Ezra and Aria stare at the surveillance footage. Declan shaking hands with Marcus in a parking garage. Two devils making a deal. Aria. They're teaming up for us. Ezra darkly. No. For you. I'm just the one in the way. Luna. They're planning something big. But they don't know we're listening yet. Ezra turns to Aria with fire in his voice. Ezra. I'm done playing defense. We fight back now. He presses a button on the wall. A secret chamber opens, full of confidential files, locked cases, and one single glowing red folder labeled Project Seraph. Aria shocked. What is this? Ezra coldly. The reason I've been hunted. The secret Declan would kill to destroy. And the future I want you to protect. Love brought them together. But what they were about to uncover would change everything. Scene opens with Aria and Ezra standing in the glowing vault. Ezra hands her the red folder labeled Project Seraph. Ezra serious. This is the reason I was left for dead the night you found me. Aria nervous. What is it? She opens the folder. Inside, blueprints, encrypted data, and a signed patent. Project Seraph. A revolutionary artificial intelligence designed to disrupt every industry from finance to national security. But more than wealth, it gave power. Dangerous power. Ezra. Declan wanted to sell it to foreign hands. Said no. The next day, I was ambushed, stripped of my security, and left unconscious on that alley floor. Aria staggering. That night was no coincidence. Ezra. No. It was an assassination. And you unknowingly saved the man who was never supposed to wake up again. Scene shifts to Marcus and Declan in a luxury penthouse. Declan lights a cigar. Declan. The girl is his weakness. Use her. Break her, and you break him. Marcus grinning. She broke me once. It's my turn. As the enemies plotted, the lovers made a decision. Not to run but to rise. Ezra and Aria meet with Luna and Ezra's trusted legal advisor. Ezra. I'm transferring full custody of Project Seraph to Aria. If anything happens to me, she decides its fate. Aria alarmed. What? No, Ezra. Ezra. You saved my life once, Aria. Now I'm trusting you with everything I've built. That night. Aria can't sleep. She walks into the rooftop garden again. Ezra joins her. They sit under the stars close. Vulnerable. Aria quietly. You could have anyone, Ezra. Someone with less baggage. Less danger. Ezra. Let them come. I still choose you. Every time. He takes her hand, kisses her fingers. Their lips meet slow, deep, real. Not because of fear, but because they finally felt safe in each other. In a world where trust was a weapon, love became their shield. Suddenly, the rooftop lights flicker. A drone zips past, a camera flashing. Ezra tackles Aria to the ground. The drone explodes mid-air. Ezra shouting. They've found us. Downstairs, alarms blare. Luna's voice comes through the intercom. Luna. Perimeter breach. Multiple hostiles approaching the gate. Aria grabs Ezra's hand. Aria. We fight. Together. The final war for love, power, and survival had just begun. Scene opens with chaos. Security alarms wail through Ezra's estate. Red warning lights flash across glass corridors. Aria and Ezra run down the hall, hand in hand. Ezra into headset. Luna status. Luna urgent. 3 armed intruders breached the west wing. We're locking the inner gates. But you've got 5 minutes. This wasn't just a break-in. It was a declaration of war. And the battleground was their love. Ezra leads Aria into a panic-safe elevator. As they descend into a hidden bunker, Aria grips his arm tightly. Aria, I'm not afraid of them. I'm only afraid of losing you. Ezra, turning to her. You won't. Not now. Not ever. Scene cuts to Declan watching the security footage from a hijacked tablet. Marcus stands beside him. Declan. They're running scared. Marcus. No. She's with him. That means she's fighting. Aria was always a fire I couldn't hold. Declan smirking. Then burn her out. Hidden bunker. Soft lighting. Walls lined with encrypted servers. Ezra pulls up a security feed showing the intruders in the West Hall. Ezra. We can reroute them. Trap them in Corridor B. Aria. Let me help. I know Marcus's voice. I'll bait him. Ezra alarmed. No. It's too risky. Aria fierce. He ruined my past. I'm not letting him ruin my future. In that moment, Aria was no longer the girl who saved a stranger. She was the woman protecting the man she loved, with everything she had. Aria speaks into the system's PA mic, taunting Marcus. Aria calm cold. Still hiding behind other men, Marcus. I thought you said I was your whole world. Too bad I burned it down. Marcus freezes. His eyes narrow. Marcus. You want to play, Aria. Let's end this face to face. Meanwhile, Ezra uses the distraction to trap the intruders inside the glass corridor. Security walls slam shut. Luna activates lockdown. Luna overcomes. Got them. West Wing neutralized. Ezra. Marcus is alone now. It's your call, Ezra. No. It's hers. He turns to Aria. She nods. Scene shifts to the grand ballroom. Dark, silent but waiting. Marcus enters slowly, gun in hand. From the shadows, Aria steps out. Unarmed. Brave. Marcus. You should have stayed mine. Aria firm. I was never yours. And tonight, you answer to me. Behind her, silent and deadly, Ezra appears, gun trained on Marcus's back. Ezra, quiet fury. You threatened the wrong woman. The final confrontation had begun. And not everyone would walk away. Scene opens with the standoff between Aria, Ezra, and Marcus in the grand ballroom. The lights are dim, casting long shadows across the polished floors. Marcus holds a gun, eyes narrowed in anger, while Ezra stands firmly behind Aria, his own weapon at the ready. Marcus sneering. You think you've won. You think you can control me, Aria. Aria, calm but fierce. Control. I don't need to control you, Marcus. I just need to stop you. In that moment, the past and present collided. The woman who had once been broken, now stood unyielding. And the man who had once been a predator, was now trembling on the edge of defeat. Ezra cool, steady. Let it go, Marcus. There's no winning here. No more manipulation, no more lies. Marcus laughs bitterly. I'm not afraid of you, Ezra. Or her. He points the gun at Aria, but Ezra moves quickly, stepping in front of her. Ezra, fury rising. You'll regret that. The man who had been willing to die for his secrets, now found himself facing the only thing he'd ever feared, someone who would fight to protect the ones they loved. Suddenly, the sharp sound of footsteps echoes through the room. Luna bursts in with backup security, guns drawn. The odds are suddenly even. Luna. It's over, Marcus. Surrender. Marcus, looking around, realizing he's cornered. You think this is over. This is just the beginning. You're the ones who don't understand the game. You've played by my rules for too long. Scene shifts to outside the mansion. A storm rages. Lightning strikes, illuminating the sky. The wind howls as the final fight continues inside. But the storm that raged outside could never match the storm that was finally breaking inside. Marcus drops the gun in defeat, but his grin remains. Marcus, you'll never know peace, Aria. You'll always be haunted. He's led away in cuffs, but the words hang heavy in the air. Aria looks at Ezra, her eyes filled with uncertainty. Aria softly. Do you think he's right? Ezra gently. No. 'Cause we have each other. And that's all we need. The fight for love, for power, and for safety was far from over. But in that moment, the weight of everything they'd fought for seemed worth it. As the security team clears the mansion, Ezra pulls Aria close, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Ezra, I won't let anyone take you from me. No one. Suddenly, Aria's phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Text from unknown. You think you've won. There's more to come. You're not safe. Not yet. Aria's face pales as she shows Ezra the message. He looks at her, his eyes narrowing in concern. Ezra, it's not over. But I won't let them hurt you again. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. And as the storm outside raged, so too did the storm in their hearts. Scene opens in the quiet aftermath of the battle. The mansion is still, the tension thick in the air. Aria sits on the edge of the bed, staring at the ominous text message Ezra had just read. Her hand trembles as she puts the phone down. Aria whispering. Who is this? Ezra, his tone dark, serious. I don't know. But whoever it is, they're not backing down. Just when they thought they had faced their greatest threat, the shadows whispered of a new danger. A danger unseen but very real. A force that had been working behind the scenes, far more dangerous than anyone could have anticipated. Ezra moves to the window, his gaze cold as he looks out over the city skyline. Aria joins him, standing close, trying to find a shred of comfort in his presence. Ezra, I'll make this right, Aria. No more secrets, no more running. Aria softly. I'm with you. Always. Luna enters the room, her face grim. Luna. We've traced the number. It's a burner phone. Whoever it is clever. Ezra, turning to face Luna. Whoever they are, they want to break us. First Marcus, now this. Luna. It's not over. But we'll get through this. Together. In the face of darkness, their bond was their greatest strength. But as the unseen enemy closed in, Aria and Ezra would need more than love to survive. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes through the hallway. Ezra rushes out, Aria following close behind. They find a masked intruder in the hallway, holding a gun to the head of one of the mansion's security guards. Masked intruder, coldly. Don't move. I just need the woman. Aria. Now. Scene shifts to outside the mansion, where more black SUVs roll up, their tinted windows reflecting the stormy sky. The storm outside mirrored the chaos inside. But this time Aria and Ezra were no longer just surviving, they were ready to fight. Ezra takes a step forward, his voice steady and commanding. Ezra, calm but threatening. Let him go, or I'll make you regret it. Masked intruder, laughing. You think you can stop me? I'm just the messenger. Aria, fear creeping into her voice. Who sent you? Masked intruder, grinning. Does it matter? You'll never see their face. You're just pawns in a game you can't win. The truth was, they didn't know who they were fighting. And the fear of the unknown was more dangerous than anything Marcus or Declan had ever thrown at them. The intruder suddenly lunges, but Ezra tackles him, knocking the gun out of his hand. Aria steps back, her heart pounding in her chest. Ezra, gritting his teeth, pinning the intruder down. You're not getting away this time. The intruder smirks, his eyes narrowing. Masked intruder, with a chilling whisper. You're too late. The clock is ticking. And she is already on her way. Suddenly, a loud bang rings out. The intruder collapses. Ezra looks up, shocked, as a new figure steps out from the shadows, the sound of footsteps echoing through the hallway. Aria, shocked, voice trembling. Oh, who are you? The figure steps into the light, revealing a familiar face, someone from Aria's past. Her blood runs cold. Some ghosts never stay buried. And the past was about to claim them all. Scene opens with a mysterious figure stepping forward, the faint light catching his features. Aria's breath hitches as recognition flickers in her eyes. Aria, softly trembling. No. It can't be you. Ezra, cold, confused. Who is this? Aria. The man steps fully into the light. His face still and unreadable. He's familiar, too familiar. Aria, voice cracking. Jake. How is this possible? You died. The past Aria had tried so hard to bury was suddenly back, standing before her, alive and carrying with him a storm that could tear everything apart. Jake looks at her with a cold, calculating gaze. Jake, smiling darkly. Did you really think you could escape me, Aria? After everything we built? Everything we shared? Aria, shaking her head. No. I saw you die. I mourned you. Jake, his smile widening. You mourned the wrong man. I had a plan, Aria. A plan you couldn't even begin to understand. You were never supposed to be with him. He gestures toward Ezra, who stands frozen, trying to process the sudden, impossible revelation. Ezra, voice steady but furious. Stay the hell away from her. Jake, laughing darkly. Too late. It's already begun. In that moment, Aria understood the truth. Her past was never as simple as it seemed. And this man, Jake, had a far deeper grip on her than she had ever realized. Suddenly, Jake's phone rings. He silences it, then smirks as if a thought just occurred to him. Jake, you've been living in the dark for so long, haven't you, Aria? You have no idea what's coming. But Ezra does. He turns toward Ezra, his eyes gleaming with a twisted amusement. Jake taunting. Doesn't it hurt, Ezra? To know you're just a pawn in a game you'll never win. I've always been a step ahead. Ezra, eyes narrowing, voice low. You've underestimated me. And you've underestimated her. A tense silence hangs between them. Aria looks at Ezra, her fear turning into determination. Aria. No more running. No more hiding. If you think you can break me, Jake, you've forgotten what we were capable of. Aria and Jake, once partners in a dangerous game. Their eyes locked, full of ambition and power. The world was theirs, until it shattered. Years ago, Aria and Jake had been untouchable. Together they had controlled everything, until one betrayal split their lives apart. Jake's eyes flicker with recognition of her words. Jake smirking, taunting. You really think you can win this, Aria? You and your loyal knight. Ezra steps forward, no longer hiding his fury. Ezra, dangerous, calm. It's over, Jake. You don't control anything anymore. But even as they stood together, facing the ghosts of the past, the greatest storm was yet to come. The sound of distant helicopters fills the air, the echo growing louder. Aria and Ezra turn to the windows. A dark sky looms above, filled with danger. The sound of helicopters means only one thing. The final confrontation is coming. Ezra, eyes scanning the horizon. This isn't just about us anymore. It's bigger than that. The camera zooms in on Aria's face, her resolve hardening. Aria, whispering, determined. We end this now. Together. With the weight of the past, the darkness closing in, and the storm above them, the battle for their future was just beginning. And no matter what happened next, they would face it together. Scene opens with Aria and Ezra standing side by side in the mansion's grand hallway. The sound of helicopters grows louder. The storm outside is at its peak, lightning flashing across the sky. Tension is thick, like the calm before a hurricane. Aria whispering, resolute. This ends now. No more lies, no more running. Ezra, holding her hand tightly. Together. We fight together. No matter what comes. The final act had begun. The storm that had followed them, that had threatened everything they'd built, was here. But so was their resolve, stronger than ever. The helicopter lands outside, kicking up dust as it sets down with a deafening roar. Jake's face appears in the helicopter's tinted window. His smirk is gone, replaced with a look of pure rage. Jake, yelling from the helicopter. "This is it, Aria. You can't escape me. Not now, not ever." Jake was no longer the man who had once held all the power. Now he was a man on the edge. Desperate and dangerous. And he wasn't just fighting for control. He was fighting for his very survival. Ezra steps forward, eyes locked on Jake's. Aria stays by his side, her heart racing. Ezra cold, unwavering. "You don't get to control us. Not anymore." Jake shouting, fury burning in his eyes. "You'll regret this. You think you've won. I created everything you've come to love. You owe me everything." But the truth was, Aria and Ezra had already won. Their love, their loyalty, their strength. All of it had led them here to this moment. And nothing Jake could throw at them could change that. Aria looks at Ezra, their eyes meeting with a quiet understanding. The storm outside rages, but inside, a calm resolve settles over them both. Aria gently. "We've come too far to turn back now." Ezra with determination. "No turning back. I'm not losing you." Suddenly, a loud gunshot rings out. Jake's smirk is gone. Ezra pushes Aria to the ground as the bullet narrowly misses them. The helicopter spins, chaos unfolding around them. Jake, from the helicopter, laughing maniacally. "Do you think I'd let you just walk away? Think again." The final battle had begun, and it was now or never. The power of their love, their loyalty, and their resolve would determine the outcome. In a swift move, Ezra takes cover and returns fire. Aria moves to the side, pulling out her own weapon, her past training kicking in. The fight was on. Aria, shouting over the chaos. "Ezra, we end this. Together." Ezra focused, calm. "On my mark." The camera zooms in on Aria's face as she prepares for the final moment. The gunfire continues to echo through the air, but she is unshaken. The past, the fear, the danger, it no longer matters. And then it happened. In a flash of brilliance, Aria and Ezra moved as one, taking down Jake's men with precise, coordinated movements. Their bond, unbreakable, was the only weapon they needed. Jake stumbles from the helicopter, wounded but still alive. His eyes burning with hatred. Jake, gritting his teeth. "This isn't over." Aria, calmly, her voice like steel. "It is." With one final powerful move, Ezra disarms Jake. The storm outside fades as the tension in the air lifts. The sound of helicopters ceases. Jake is handcuffed, his empire crumbling around him. Ezra, breathing heavily, standing tall. Game over. And just like that, the game was over. The man who had once held power over them, who had caused so much fear and destruction, was defeated. Scene shifts to later that evening. The mansion is quiet, peaceful now. Aria and Ezra stand together on the balcony, watching the stars. Aria, leaning into Ezra's embrace. "It's over. For good this time." Ezra, kissing her forehead. "We've won. We've got everything we need. Each other." In that moment, Aria and Ezra knew something that no one could ever take from them. Their love was unshakable. Their future bright and limitless. The camera zooms out, showing the couple standing together, the storm now behind them, as the night sky glows with the promise of a new dawn. They had fought, they had loved, and they had won. This was their story, one of true love, loyalty, and the kind of strength that can only come from the deepest bonds.